everyone, it's Nicole and I have another layout using the July Valley High Studio Calico kit, and I'm showing you some of the products I may be using. A lot of it is from the kit. I'm trying to use those frames and almost to the point that I almost force it too much, and then I kind of halfway through pull them off and just use one. So I'm showing you a lot of the scraps that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be using that I think it's something Josephine Kimberling for the background. So I want to use, these are from a crop weekend from a couple years ago, and I just want to highlight how messy we can get when we're scrapbooking. And I usually clean up after every time I finish a page. I clean up the area and put it back to where it started, but man, by the time I finish that page, it is a complete mess. So I'm putting some dot adhesive on the frame, and then I'm using my scissors. And what I do so that I can get under that frame is, instead of cutting straight on, I tip my scissors so that they're tilted, and that way it kind of cuts in behind the frame. Because if you try to follow the frame, guarantee that you're going to see some of the pictures, hanging out on the side of it. And this one was a little trickier because it was a see-through frame. So what I decided to do was take my non-skid ruler, or non-slip, it doesn't slip, from Martha Stewart. And I'm going to take my craft knife and I'm going to cut it right along the edge. And still I have to go back and kind of fix it. And I'm going to do the same thing with the third one. And this layout is a 13th layout using this kit. And it took me 1 hour and 23 minutes to complete. And I think I might have 1 or 2 more layouts, and then I'm just going to move on to the August kit. And I also want to be working on my December daily. The first video should have went up. This will go up on December 2nd, so the other one should have went up on December 1st for December daily. So I'm just kind of, messing with how I want it to look. So I thought at first I wanted to put it in behind the whole thing, but didn't really look good, so I just put a little strip, and then I'm going to go quite far in the page with that piece of pattern paper right there. I'm even going to glue it down, and then I'm going to have to rip it off, and that's the last piece of that pattern paper. It had love words on it. You are my happiness found. I don't even know who made it. I think it was, no, I'm not even going to say because I have no idea. But it was the second sheet of it, and I have it all used up. I'm going to cut a doily in half, and I'm just going to put it straight up and down, which I almost never do. Usually it's opposite each other. And then I know I want to use that washi tape that I had put aside to use with this kit. And it's a nice aqua color. Now I'm going to go through my tiny stickers from my mind's eye. And I love putting little words next to my embellishments. It just kind of adds extra journaling to the whole thing. And then this sticker here, it said explore and fun and games. And then the other one was an arrow, and the other one said details, which it never made it onto the page. I don't know where it went. Probably fell in behind some of the stuff, and I never got it put on. So I'll have to look for it, see if where it went. And I was looking at those stickers to see if I want to use one of those, but I don't end up using any of it. I'm going to punch out 3 half circles in that white with aqua empty circles, I guess, outlines of circles. And this page, because of one of the Insta Polaroids was red, I thought I was going to do the aqua and red. And like I said, I'm going to go quite far into this page that I bring in a lot of aqua embellishments, or not aqua, red. And after a while, I just don't like it, so I'm just going to pull everything up and redo it. So again, I'm just going through the embellishments and basically just throw it in the middle of my page. I'm not even concerned about where it's going to fit on the layout. I don't know where my 3 embellishment clusters are going to be. I just want to have enough stickers and labels that I think will be enough for each embellishment cluster. So the only thing I make sure is that I have 3 of everything. Now I'm going to ink the edges, and I'm just going to use my Tim Holtz tool and my black ink. And it's just the Memento black ink. I'm going to ink all the edges. And that black paper, black and white paper, the other side is my favorite paper that has the triangles on it. And even when I cut it in half and I realized, I was like, oh, because that's the last of it. But I end up ripping it up, and I didn't throw it out, even though it kind of wrecked the edges. I'll just trim it down a bit, and I'll put it on use my scraps layout, because I figure the next 2 layouts are just going to be using my scraps. And if I do that, I think I have 1 full sheet, because there was 1 sheet that had orange pattern paper. I don't understand the orange because there was no orange in this whole kit, but I'm going to try and use that too, or I might just cut it up and use it as scraps. We'll see. So now I flip the pattern paper over because I want to outline all the pieces, and I didn't want to wreck my pattern paper, so I flipped it over, and I didn't mind if I, put some ink on the back of the page. So now I'm going to start gluing everything, and I just make sure that I put ink to the center of the page so that if I want to add some more stuff in behind, I still can. And still now at this point, I was still like, oh, should I find another way to try to use this? Because that red frame really threw me off. Now that frame, I found it was a little too big, and you couldn't see any of the pattern paper in behind. So that's why I cut it down a little bit so you could see that pattern paper. I'm even going to go as far as gluing down that darker pattern paper. And I just found it threw the whole layout off because it was so dark compared to everything. So I'm going to pull it up here in a little bit and put a lighter blue paper in behind there. I'm going to glue down those doilies, and that too I had a little bit of trouble. I'm going to pull them off, and I'm going to cut them down because I found they were too big. Too much of it was sticking up, out. I ended up ripping my pattern paper, but in the end you don't see it because I end up having, a cluster. So I finally remembered to put the washi before everything else was down, and not having to rip everything up and trying to put my washi in behind. So I put down my washi first thing. And now I'm taking all those embellishments that I had pulled, and I'm going to put it in between all the, the 3 clusters that I want to create. And I just realized, ended up covering the circle. So I'm just going to pull it off and just stick it underneath. see it. So this is where I realized that those frames, I just didn't like them. So I just pull them off the pictures and I'll try to use them on another layout, either during this kit or in another kit. And now, of course, my pictures are all crooked because I kind of just quickly, cut them with my scissors. So I just used my little paper trimmer from Creative Memories and I just fixed those right up. So I'm going to fuss with the layers for quite a bit. And I think it was that black and white photo. It was really throwing me off. So in the end, the colors I ended up choosing was aqua and navy, in which I really liked. I really liked the combination of those two. So between all those little labels that I cut from LE Studio, from My Mind's Eye, from, different companies, I'm just kind of, again, I only took out a bunch of them and I have no idea where any of them is going to go. So now I'm trying to figure out between the 3 embellishment clusters, where everything's going to go. So now I'm down to my little word stickers, and the word stickers I took out for this page was event, because usually a crop weekend, it's an event, and talented because it's filled with talented ladies, and remarkable because my friend is the one that puts this on and she cooks all the meals for us, and she just does a remarkable job. So I just love it. And I couldn't go to the last one, and I was so sad, but hopefully I can go to the one after Christmas. So this is where I decide that I want to change this up. So it's sort of light blue aqua color, and then it has little rectangles in there. And all I had was about a 3 3/4 inch by 12 inch strip. That's all I had left between the 2 sheets of pattern paper. This was stuck on so well that I had to literally cut it off with my scissors because there's no way it was going to come up. I was going to end up ripping that other pattern paper. So now I'm going to ink it up, and then I don't know if at this point I'm going to use yes. So I'm going to outline them with my marker or my writing pen, and then I'm going to stick them into place. And I like that a whole lot better. It's not so distracting anymore. And it was at that point too that I decided no red. So the puffy stickers are going to stay to the side, and I had taken out red twine, so I'm not going to use that either. So now I'm going to work on that top embellishment. And I made sure that, one of the circles that I had punched out was going to fit in each of the clusters. And I'm going to put that arrow to the top of the layout. And this is where that camera is. I end up covering the circle, but I just fixed it. So now I had taken out some of those stickers that we got in this month's kit, and I've used those quite a bit. I'm going to ink them with the white Hero Arts, dry them up with the heating tool, and then I'm using my Tide Pool Blue. And I'm going to put 2 coats. So this crop is so much fun because we go on usually her and I go in the afternoon because I go help her set up. And then it goes right till Sunday. And you have your own table and you have so much scrapping space. And there's about 35 to 40 ladies that end up going. And it's just so much fun. It's so nice to just be able to, and she cooks for you all weekend, And everybody washes their own one plate, so it's not as if there's a whole bunch of dishes to do, and it just feels like you just get up, you have your breakfast, and then you scrap, and then before you know it, it's lunch, and you scrap some more. And I usually end up getting over 20 pages done in one weekend, and it's so great to get that many pages done. So I decided to put my title right there on one of those papers that kind of stuck out. And I find those stickers are sticky enough, but once you distress them, or not distress them, but ink them and dry them with the heat gun, the glue doesn't work anymore. So then I add some more adhesive, and then for the weekend, I used some of my own stash, and it's the sticky keys, and it's called Peacock Blue. And I absolutely love those letters. And I noticed that I only have one of those, so I'll have to make sure next time I put in an order with Simon Says that I get 2 more sets or something, because those letters get picked over quite a bit. And it's a nice boy color, There's not a lot. I don't have a lot, it seems, of boy stuff. So every time I see boy stuff, I grab it up. So basically now I'm just going to glue down all the embellishments. And I just want to let you know that I started working on my December daily, and right now it's basically organizing everything and getting everything ready. And a video, I don't know if I'm going to show like just one day per video, or if I'm going to try to combine them, so I'll have day 1 and 2, or I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that. But I'm doing the 12 by 12. I decided that, and I'm not going to do a 2-page spread for one day, because that'll be overkill. But I'm going to do 1 page for one day, like one side of the 12 by 12, because then it's no more than 4 photos. So I should be able to, for the month of December, for my regular project life, I'm not going to be doing that. But for December, I'm going to, try to do that. Now, I mounted those little photos on some scrap pattern papers that were from this month's kit. And now I'm putting that camera on foam tape, and also the word Explore. Oh no, the word Explore, I just put a foam tape at the very end, so then it looks like the flag is kind of flying away. And I know I kind of put everything on top of that Polaroid, so you can't really tell it's a Polaroid, but I'm okay. So this is where I hid the circle, and I didn't even realize, but I've since fixed it, and it's hanging underneath. And I'm going to work on the rest of the clusters. And now I'm going to add those little words too that came in the kit. And there is so much between the brads that came in the kit and the buttons that came in the kit, because we had, the brads were from another month, but I was trying to use them up. And so anyway, it makes it hard, like, because you don't want to, overkill and put brads and buttons just because you're trying to use everything up, So I still try to be kind of, like I said, not overkill with it, and try to spread out my embellishments and not use it all on one layout. And where I had decided to go with the aqua and navy, that's why I decided to go with these brads, because it had quite a bit of navy in them. So I just found that it just kind of tied in why I had navy in the title, because the word Explore also has navy. So then it kind of helped. And now I'm going to take out some enamel dots, and it's in the aqua, and I'm going to add it to each cluster. And then I took out my favorite twine, and this time around I'm just going to ball it up and put it on the layout. I found that I struggled quite a bit with that layout, so I was kind of happy to be done with it. So I just put the finishing touches, and I was like, yes, it's done. It can go in the album. And on the bottom, I didn't do it on the recording because the battery was going to die, but that's where I'm going to do the journaling. But I just want to do a little bit of research and find out when exactly this crop was at, or what date it was on and what year. I know it was either last year or the year before. So I just got to look for the date, and then I'll put my journaling and the date. So I took out a couple of Glimmer Glaze, and what I do, it has a little paintbrush on the end, but I don't use it with the paintbrush. I just basically tap it, and it just puts little splatters all over the, where I want splatters. And I forgot to cover my photos, so the photos ended up with a little bit of splatters, but I figured it was scrapbooking pictures, so, it's okay. So here are a few close-ups. If you want to see more close-ups, you can go to 2 Peas in a Bucket or Studio Calico in the members gallery. Look for Nicole Jones 911. You can also join me on Pinterest, which is on the About tab, and also in the description, my Facebook group. So thanks for watching. Bye.